to be celebrating a new day and giving God his glory and Jesus and being thanksgiving for all that Jesus has done, taught us how to be obedient, taught us how to continue to move forward. So that being said, welcome back to Truck Time and Time with Jesus. And no matter what, uh, it's always going to be truck time and part of this because you know a lot of thoughts out there and a lot of learning who I was even as a person. And just when you think you have it all together, something happens in your life, and everything we go through in life can change us. It can change us. It can break us. It can put us in through a place, and then when you're trying your hardest, it seems like there's that disappointment sometimes. You're grouchy, or you're tired, or you're in so much pain that you just don't want to even speak about how much pain, because you're tired of talking about your pain. And and it goes a long ways. It goes to when people ask and then go immediately, you start telling them, well, let me tell you about, it's like, why don't you just tell me about you then? Because I'm really to a point that you just get tired of talking about the same pain over and over. Doesn't mean that God's not healing me. It doesn't mean your prayer's not being heard. And that's where we have to understand that God is working. God's time is not a 24-hour clock. If God's time was in a 24-hour clock, people, we'd be in trouble. I mean, seriously, we would be in trouble. But you have to look at it and go, what does God expect from us? What is God looking at, that as far as we as followers of him and under his authority of the Lord Jesus Christ? The Lord says, for you are my sheep. I gather the ones that the Father has given me. So is this time coming? Yes, it's coming. Is it coming in September? I hope so. If not, I'm still going to praise him. I'm still going to preach. I'm still going to come out here and do that. And it's like, lately it's weird, because every avenue I go down and I look at is, I've been asking God, what is the bigger purpose? What did this fall create? What did these things, what is bringing in there? And I need you to help me see beyond what I can't see. So yesterday I went and sat with the pastor, and was given, I was given my thoughts on a few things. And one of the, a couple of things, it was like, kind of how he put it was, I think you're stretching a little bit too far on that one. And I'm like, no, I really seriously believe that a lot of people aren't going to understand the demonic realm, because we don't talk about it, people. We're allowing children to be swept off this, or even adults these days. We're allowing these people to be swept off of this earth into their demonic, well, let's see, Negan, is that how you pronounce that? Why does people provoke and I've experienced a demon? Well, let me tell you, here's why. In the demonic realm, if you're not, if you think it's a joke, and see, that's what Satan's trying to get in everybody's head. This is why churches don't preach of this stuff, because they're so worried about their numbers and people looking down on them, and they're, because they graduated out of the top schools. Let me tell you something about graduation. I'm not taking nothing away from schooling or anything like that, so please don't take it this way, anybody. But I just want you to hear me out a second, and I'll go from there right into this question. If you've been on this channel long enough, I'll take you down different avenues to get back to where your original question was. But it's amazing how the journey takes you right back to what you originally asked. You can go in there and get every degree ever. You can get a bachelor. You can pass your bar exam. You can become a nurse. You can become a surgeon. You can come and do all these things and hate your job. Why did you hate why do you hate it? Why do you, could you, first of all, you could be buried under all the college debt that you owe, or the fact is that even what God has you doing? When did we grow up thinking, God, what do you want me to do? Some people may have. I'm not taking away from everybody. Myself, no, I wasn't following God. Why? Because I was led down that trackway, but on that track that I was on, it's my own fault. I put myself there. I put myself into that demonic long term. Yeah, you're right, and that's what it comes down to. It all comes about money and how much they can put in their pockets. And these, I mean, we're seeing these evangelists, we're seeing all this stuff unfold, but where does it come to a halt? And that's what I was just talking about right before you come on. Was God broke me. It took me from December 16th of 2024, and as I got further on in this trying to heal process, trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to try to do stretches. I'm going to try to do bends. I'm going to try to do everything to try to build my body back up. But guess what? In the process, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because you're not fixed. If you're not fixed, you can't be healed. You can't be at peace. You may love someone in your life. You may have a spouse. You may have a husband. You may have a wife. You may love your children. You may love your animals. You may love your immediate family, your friends. But there's always going to be a hole somewhere. There's going to be that negative space. Because without Christ filling us first, without love of ourselves, love thy neighbor as you will yourself. Well, I can't love my neighbor if I'm hating myself. If I hate myself, I'm going to hate everybody around me. I'm a proof of that. I've lived it. I didn't want to be bothered, so I put on this image to people. I didn't have to. All I had to do was look at some people, and they would get out of they would just walk away from it. Is it the fact that it was me, or was it the demons that haunted me? Was it the demons that I allowed in me? Was it the demons that I would call upon to manifest and give me power, give me whatever I was after in that particular event? To glorify Satan is to follow him. If you're not following Christ, you're following Satan. You're glorifying Satan, which leads to death, which leads to where Lucifer is. And if you think you're going to survive, good luck. Have at it. How's your life doing right now for you? Because here's a song. It starts off. Well, it doesn't start off this way, but in there it says, "I'm on the highway to hell." Next song by a totally different artist. "Welcome to the Hotel California. You are always welcome here. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave." What is that? It's hell. Because you're in your own misery of what you've created. You're in your own entrapment of what it is. Pastors don't want to talk about this demonic activities that are going on. Pastors don't want to sit here and talk about it because they talk about tithing for an awful lot. Let me tell you what, I'm a firm believer of the tithing, and I'll get to that in a minute. But let me tell you, God has showed me enough. I have looked at my life upside down, frontwards, backwards, forwards, right to left, right became left, right become left, left become right. That's what I meant to say. Forward was backwards, backwards was forward. And after I said that this morning, the Lord gave me a teaching a few years ago about the same exact thing, that you wouldn't know which direction you're going. Lately, I've been hearing these pastors going, testimonies. If you struggle from an addiction, or if you had an alcohol problem, or if you were this or that, then I'm doing your testimony, basically. No, you're not doing my testimony because you don't know nothing about me. You only know what I was willing to share. But did anybody ever stop and think how many times why we don't see the grace of God? Why we're not seeing God move forward in our lives? We're not seeing anything, and we're starting to doubt. Because first of all, doubt, there's your first clue. You're walking too close with the enemy. Fear. Fear of what? You fear of what's going to happen, or you fear of what's going on outside? Close your blinds, and you're no longer fearful. Turn off that news. You're no longer fearful. Put down that cell phone in your hand. You're no longer fearful because you don't know what's going on. Put yourself back as a child when you go outside and play. Did you worry about somebody coming and snatching you off the street? No. Do you worry about your children now? No. Some of you don't, because look what just happened to those, to the girls and stuff. There was another one that she just got abducted because they're putting all this nonsense, and they brought it down to this. They brought it down to this, that it was because of all her social media. Does this not seem like deja vu that I was just talking about all this nonsense? If we don't put an end to this stuff, it's going to hit your home. When it hits your home, it's too late. It's too late now for them. No, so they might find her alive. No, they're not. No, come on. If they do, she's not. She might as well be dead. Because what they're doing to her right now is not going to be nothing nice. Can you imagine living that the rest of your life? Yeah, God can give you peace, yes. But I'm sure that God's going to spare her all that nonsense and just bring her home. I would hope. If she's not a Christian, then I'm hoping she's finding him real fast, because you seem to find God in the most mysterious times of your life, do you not? Let me ask you something, you atheists and you people that GD this and God this and church this, you Bible thumpers no good this and that. Let me tell you something. Why is it when you're in trouble, oh God help me, why don't you go to, say, Lucifer? Hey, Lucifer, why don't you help me? Hey, Saint, why don't you come and help me? Why not? Why aren't you doing it? I'll tell you why you're not doing it. Because you know it isn't going to work. Why would he give you anything? His gifts are temporary. Jesus gave it an eternal gift to last forever, and we can have it forever. You just got to want it. If you're not willing to go after it, it's a two-way street. You ever complain about your friends don't talk to you, or this person's not calling you, or you haven't heard from this person, but yet they call you all the time, and maybe they're just done? Maybe they feel like you're not really interested. It's only on a one-side relationship, and who wants that? Who wants someone in their life that they got to constantly reach out to you? It's a two-way street. You know, we bring pain, we allow pain into our lives because some sick, twisted way we're still hooked to that gossip. Well, you're right. You can number pain by many different things in life, whether it's physical pain, heartache pain, thoughts, whatever it may be. It's still pain. It's still something that keeps you captive where you are. And if you're captive where you are, how can you do anything? So, I when we was talking about yesterday about Adam and Eve, and I said, from what I read out of the Bible, and I went through it, many different translations of the Bible, and it basically says Satan tempted her with the forbidden fruit. She took it. She bit it. What did she do? Clearly took it over to Adam and had Adam take the forbidden fruit. Once Adam took a bite of it, they became with sight and fled and hid. Jesus come walking through. Maybe it was God. I don't quite. I'd have to look at whether it was capital or lowercase l, whether it said Lord or however it was put in there. But you got to look at it. Okay, either one comes walking through. Where are you? We're hiding. Why are you hiding? Because we're ashamed. Why are you ashamed? Because we're naked. How do you know you're naked? Did you eat from the forbidden tree? Disobedient. Bam, right there. Sin. Man, I'm not convinced. Nobody's going to convince me that man did not commit the first sin. It was not Eve. Because let's think about this. Eve taking this all-knowing bite of this tree, whatever fruit it was. You may say, well, we say the apple. Okay, anybody ever look at your Apple icon on your iPhones or any kind of Apple stuff? Even Google, it always shows the bite taken out of the apple. Think about that. And look how much sin comes out of your cell phones or out of a laptop thing or whatever it may be. Look how much sin comes out of Google. Freaks you out, don't it? Did me. After I just sat there and actually I was looking at these images thing because I like doing these trivia questions and the pictures, and it could be a Mercedes-Benz picture and you got to pick out of there. And I'm looking at the Apple Google thing come on and Apple and all that, and I'm looking at it going, you got to be kidding me. And I'm just staring at it going, oh my gosh. I wonder why it's so corrupted. You may say, well, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. If you spend more time on that phone and you spend more time caring about what the social media is saying about you, it's just breaking the spirit down. But you look at you look at it. I don't think I'm stretching that at all. I truly believe if she would have had sight immediately, why would she even go to Adam, knowingly that she's naked? Because it said once Adam took of the bite, they knew they were naked. Doesn't say Eve already came there and said, "Hey, Adam, look at me, I'm naked." Because he'd be like, "What are you talking about? What's naked? I have no idea what you're meaning. You look at my body; it's different. I don't have. There's nothing covering me." What made him decide to go jump into the bush to hide? I mean, do you see how this goes? It's amazing, isn't it? But then I believe that God gave him a camel outfit. It was made out of camel skin. I believe. I might be wrong on that, but I'm almost positive. But he even cared enough to even clothe him. If he clothed them that long ago, what makes you think that we got to fear what we're going to put on today, what we're going to eat today? Are we going to have utilities today? I don't fear. You know why I don't fear? Because I'm faithful with his money. I'm faithful with his money. No, it's not my money. Don't even dare call it my money. I don't want it. I don't want it because the love of it will drag you far away from him. It's not having money. It's not being able to go out and get something when you want it. But let's just back it up here for a minute. Is it something you really want, or is it just something that because everybody else is getting one? We all been in those times. Well, man, I want one of those. Everybody else got one. I remember growing up as a kid, and that would be all the time. But I had stuff that I could just play with forever, and I was content with what I had. We put God in such a tight box anymore, pretty much telling God, and I was talking about this before, it's kind of like having God. Lucifer wants to put himself even higher, but now we're trying to come over both of them. It just doesn't work. That equation will never work because you just entered into pride. You entered into a lifestyle that you should not be in. Basically, testimonies about hell is the last thing you'll probably hear in churches these days. And it's the same song. It's almost like they got a recording in their head. Because I was telling him what the Lord told me to do, and I went and did it. And he says, out of fairness for the other pastors, it's almost like he thought he had to represent all the pastors. No, you should be just worried about yourself. You should be worried about yourselves because I can tell you right now, the area I'm in is not such a great area. There's not a whole lot of people walking into that church. There's not a whole lot of people around here going to church. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's not about hit that church and he's a bad pastor or anything else. But let's just face it. When you allow the wolves to come in and they're dressed like sheep, eventually the sheep wool gets caught and it peels their outfit off, and then before you know it, everything's dripping from their teeth, from their mouth, and they're looking at you with that tongue coming out, and you're their next prey. Because by that time, all the Christians that truly believe done walked out. You know why they walked out? Because they're starting to see something. I'm so sick and tired of hearing this is your testimony, this is your testimony. No, it's not. That gives God no dang on glory. It gives God nothing. It doesn't give God nothing. No praise, no nothing, except for somebody standing there. God took people out of drug addictions, alcohol. How? Because the next pastor I hear that says that stands up and be like, how did he do it? How did he do it? Because 1 minute the same pastor is sitting there saying that they can't even, I'm just going to use my own words, that they can't even put themselves in the same category because they didn't have to live any of that. I was told by an administrator at a nursing home once that my life was a lie. Pissed me off. Seriously, I wasn't a Christian then, but it did piss me off. I just could not believe that. And I said, well, one day you're going to see it unfold. And when it does, I'll accept your apology then. Sure enough, it did. We are so quick because we lived this nice life, or some of us lived a hard life, that I'm glad today. I never could understand it back then, but I'm glad today that I have. You know why? Because I'm glad that I got to witness how God truly works. I got to see the miracles down the pathway of how God had his hands on me. I had got to witness what Jesus went through for me and shed his blood, pulled out his beard, spat on him, kicked him, pushed him down, put a thorn of crowns on his head. There you go. There's the thorns that I'm talking about. Isn't that funny that Lucifer would have that placed onto his head, because it's chain of command? You know, you go from your general all the way down to the captains and all the way down to the soldiers, and you will do what I tell you to do. Does it make it right? No, it doesn't make it right. Could you do it? No way. I mean, seriously. And some people, well, there's like $10 million, I'd do it. You would, huh? $10 million. At times I wish I was a billionaire, because these people that say this nonsense, I would personally go pick them up. I'd have the suitcase full of tax-free money sitting right in front of them. Here's $10 million. You can count it yourself if you like. Take off all your clothes. If you're a guy, just leave on your underwear. Why? Oh, no, ain't no why. You're about to find out why. And then you drag them over to that stump, take their hands, and it's got the hooks onto the side, and you run the chain up there and put it back down, wrap it, and pull it tight, padlock it down. I'd say padlock today. Now what? Oh, I'm sure you're shaking now. And all of a sudden, you see all these people coming up to you with these whips and these rods and all this stuff, and start beating you. Oh, you're screaming out, please stop, please stop. No. Oh, keep an eye on that money. That money was your prize. Now all you got to do is survive. They roll you over and start hitting you in your face. Before you know it, your face is cutting open. Before you know it, your face is swelling up. Before you know it, you're never going to look the same again. Are you going to be so quick to run outside to pay that, to spend that money? You may even die. Somebody else is going to enjoy it. You could work all your life, ponder all this money, go out there and do all these foolish things, and you pass away, and I guarantee it, the first, whether it's a child or a spouse or family member that you left it to, I wonder if God would give you that opportunity to look down and let people see how foolish. All that time you saved all that money. And I'm not saying that that's a foolish man, but I'm saying is, if you did it because you went under the money has power, that money has no damn power at all. It's the power that you give it. That money becomes your idol. I can have anything I want. No, you can't. You can't buy love. You can't buy God. You may buy your friends, but I tell you what, as soon as that money's gone, and you may still have millions of dollars, but as soon as you stop spending on them, they're already got their hand towards that door, and they're reaching to turn that knob, and they're going to walk right past there, and you're never going to see them again. Then you're going to be mad. They only wanted me for the money. You think? Come on, you knew it all along. What is God truly calling you to do? I don't know. Go sit in silence and find out. Instead, we just keep going back and forth on this rampage of back and steadiness of back and forth. But here's the amazing part about it. We have to learn to get a hold of. I don't know why that dog keeps barking. But we got to learn to get a hold of reality here. We keep allowing Satan to win these battles and to go silent to everybody. We're in big trouble, because these kids growing up in this nonsense are so far strung out into this mess, they're just not going to stop. Hold on 1 second. Let's see what in the world. All right, welcome back. How's that? I don't know. Some days he gets in these barking moods, and I hate to yell at him, but I mean, after a while, I just got to go see what's going on with him because I don't want to tell him no, and then he stops barking, and then it could be the time that you need him to bark. It's like the warning. Here's your warning sign. But if it never goes off, they never test that alarm for the sounds go off for a tornado or something. The day you might need it, it's not going to work. Why isn't it going to work? Because we don't practice it. So being broken could be a good thing or a bad thing. It could get us to a point where we just feel like there's no purpose for us. There's no way out, which starts leading people into suicide, starts leading people into a place where there's no return sometimes. Lately, I've been seeing a lot of, and it took yesterday. It took yesterday to go talk to this pastor, and basically, I've been feeling led to do my testimonies, and not just about hell, but about all kinds of things. And and I was telling him what the Lord told me to do with the letters and all that, and I did it, and I was like, not one thing ever come out of it. I just don't, unless God was teaching me obedience to do, to listen to Him and do it. That's the only thing I can gather to come to it. And he said that there's not too many pastors going to basically give the pulpit to you, because the flock, and he's like the fifth person that I've ever heard say that. No, I'm sorry, the sixth. He's the sixth one now. The fifth one used that, and I was like, who are you protecting him from, me or you? So when you're looking at all that and you're coming down the line, you got to start looking at your lives. What are you doing that, or is it a pride thing? You think the words that's going to come out there, it's going to be the Pied Piper, and people are going to follow after there? I mean, you go back to the Pharisees, and I'm not saying any of this happened with any of these pastors, but I'm just saying. But I did have one guy said that, I'm very intimidated by you. We're on the same page. Remember when they comes, Lord, they're baptizing in your name and all this, but they're not here with us, and we told them to stop. And Jesus says, as long as they're for us, then they're not against us. Leave them alone, basically. Because he knew there would come a time that he wasn't going to be here on this earth. We have to understand everything's happening for a purpose, plan, and a reason bigger than what we have here with that we see. Okay. So if we're capable of seeing, then we're capable of believing. Belief is the hardest thing, I believe, for most people. And so basically, one of his things was, well, in the last so many years, you've been to this many churches, like 8 churches or whatever. And I said, that's probably about right. I'm not denying that. And he brings up scripture about being seated in, basically, into a firm place. Well, the problem is, I can't agree to any of that, because when the Lord tells me to do something, and I tried to explain, when the Lord tells me to do something, I'm going. I'm going to that church. I'm going. I never said I did. I never said I never returned to the church I was at. I said different places that the Lord sent me. See, you miss things, and you automatically just assume. Well, I don't like assume. I don't like any of that. Don't assume anything. I want to know the truth of what it is. Kind of like, well, my thoughts. Well, it better get to the Bible, and that's exactly where I'm at with it. Doesn't make me better than anybody. It just makes me. I'm tired of chasing a balloon that goes nowhere. You have to look at life and go. And the pastor, the church that we're at now, stood up there one day and said, if you want to do your testimonies and all that, then exactly how I forget exactly how he worded, then go get your own church. Lately, I've been seeing a bunch of things about ministry work and all this kind of stuff, and I'm going, all right, Lord, you got my attention. I'm not saying I'm going to become a pastor tomorrow. I'm not saying any of that. I don't know what God's trying to tell me, but I'm going to find out. And honestly, I'm to the point that I'm just sick of fake, and I'm just sick of going into a place and listening to the same song and dance over and over and over. Because we're losing souls and we're losing people left and right, and nobody wants to stand there. Nobody wants, because their way is right. Because I didn't go to school. Well, please, people, I didn't go to school. How many of you went to school for something and you got your college degree and stuff in it, but you're not doing it today? I mean, how many of you are going to go up into heaven with your college degrees? The heck was that? Oh, Darlene must be home. So, I don't know. I think I'm going down an avenue that I believe God's about to open something up, and I believe He's about to show me. It'd be, it's never too late. If September is here, then we got less than 3.5 weeks, and we'll be there to that day. So I'm all for it. Let's keep pushing on. Let's see what happens. Let's see where it goes. Maybe nowhere, maybe somewhere. But I do know this. I think I've had every confirmation that I need to hear from anybody else to sit there and to tell me that, basically how they worded it, all because I reached out to this pastor. But I think I might have had it wrong. I think I said a month and a half ago, but I think it was way before that. It was way before that. And I think it's been about 2 months now. I don't know. I'd have to go look at my email when I sent it, to be exact. But he said they were having email addresses issues and stuff. They finally got it back up and running. But don't matter. I sent you an email. It should still show up. I don't check my emails for sometimes, on certain stuff. I don't check it for days. But whatever's on there is on there. I got a new phone. I can go to the library and get online there, and it's going to show me whatever's in my email. Just saying. It's very interesting. Life. It's very interesting of what we're willing to do and not do. So interesting that we get to the point where we're quiet because we don't want to be seen. I'm tired of being quiet. I'm tired of watching Saint win. I'm tired of hearing about it. Time I walk in there, bring somebody, do this and this. If you got to ask somebody to bring somebody to your church, you're in bad shape. It starts with you. Why are they not coming? Somewhere down the line, they're seeing something they don't like. You got to want it. You got to want. You got to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Wait till I do part 2 to this. I can't post anything on here, part 1, part 2, anything like that. But it really don't matter. Because if it doesn't make sense to you, it will make sense to you. Love you guys. Till the next one.